you guys can probably tell, I am standing at a potluck. This is heaven on earth for a Christian, right? Potlucks. Boy, we love them, don't we? Oh, so much good stuff here. But you know what? Typically, people don't like everything at a potluck, do they? They might like some of this, they might like some of that, but they maybe not like that. Everybody loves the desserts, though. Look at that. Wow. I love it. Hope you can see it. Here's the thing. Here's what I want to get real serious, though, for a moment. Because a lot of people treat church like it's a potluck. And what am I talking about? Well, some people like the worship at church, but they don't really care for the preaching. Other people might like the preaching, but they don't care for the worship. In fact, I've known people that will show up for church for the worship time, and then as soon as it's time for the preacher to get up and preach, they get up and leave. And then there are other people who are just the opposite. They come in at the end of the worship service just in time to hear the preacher. And so I've seen over my lifetime people tend to treat church as a potluck, I'll have some of this but not that. And I believe it's because we have misunderstood the whole purpose of the church. Why is the church what it is? According to Ephesians chapter 4, the purpose of the church is that we are to all be built up until we all come together into maturity to be like Jesus Christ. That's the primary goal of the church. What it has become seems to be more of an entertainment venue. And I'm very serious about that because I've seen it developing in the church over my lifetime. In fact, we know from surveys that are done today regarding the state of the church in America that overall the church is in decline. Membership is in decline. There are a few out there that say that they're growing. But when you start to scratch a little bit beneath the surface, you begin to see the problem. Because as I have observed it over the years, most church growth comes as a result of people moving from one church to another church. Very, very little growth actually occurs as a result of evangelism and discipleship of new believers. And that's a serious problem because the primary mission of the church is evangelization of the lost. Most of the people I've seen in the church over the year believe that their area of ministry ought to be within the walls of the church building. But that's not what you read in Ephesians. In Ephesians, the ministry takes place when you leave the church building. Out there in the world. That's where ministry is supposed to take place. In your neighborhood, in your place of business or where you work. The people that you associate with when you go shopping or go about your daily chores. At school. Those are the people that you are supposed to be ministering to. That's where the hurting people are. Oh, it's not that we don't have hurting people in the church. But Jesus told a little parable about the 99 and the 1. And he said the good shepherd will leave the 99 and he'll go after the 1. What we tend to have done here in American churches is we've built our churches for the 99. And we're trying to attract the 99. When really what we ought to be doing is equipping our people to go out and hunt for that 1. Because that's the most important one. So let's not treat church like a potluck. Like we just come and take what we want and leave the rest. the church is supposed to be a training ground where we get everything that we need to become better ministers of the gospel when we leave the building. If you're the same this year as you were a year ago, something's wrong. Because your attitudes ought to be changing, the way you talk ought to be changing, the way you live your life ought to be changing. Everything ought to be changing because that's what God does in us. It is a continual transformation process from the moment we're saved until our life here is over. And we're never arrived. We never arrived. Paul didn't arrive. None of the early apostles arrived. It was a continual work of growth. That's what the church is really all about. Do we enjoy potlucks and fellowships? Absolutely. But that's not the main goal of the church. That's not the main purpose of it. The main purpose is building disciples to make a difference in the world. Well, before I get trampled by the hungry mob that's sitting over here, I better say goodbye, and I'll see you next time. God bless.